Well, I don't really do much. My staff is here, James DeWitt, our CFO, and one of my commissioners, Barker Keith, who many of you know and love. We've got a great team over at Lake Travis Fire Rescue. It's a great team function. I'm just happy to be here and to serve the community. Thank you very much. It's pretty quick. Yeah, I am. I was in Tahoe then. These are all the county and city fire departments' response times, and for you statisticians, I'll throw these out, but if you want to know more, you're going to have to ask me later. This is a fractal 90%. It's not average. This is our 90% of the time. This is the service you get from all the fire departments. For a priority, life-threatening medical emergency, this is a response time, we're ESD6. We're about 11 minutes and 30 seconds. From the time you call till it gets processed, till we get in the truck and get to you is 11 minutes, 30 seconds. Problem is, and I'll show you why, our stations are too far apart. I'm not saying that's horrible, as you can see, and I'm not going to get in. This isn't a mine's better than yours type thing. There's other ESDs in here, all countywide. There's worse and there's some better. Well, the better ones are closer into town. The top line represents the city of Austin, so they have the best standard in the area. Now, the red means the first fire truck to a life-threatening medical emergency. The blue is the ambulance response time combined with the fire. So the ambulance comes after the engine, in our case, at about 17, 18 minutes. That's your fractal response, folks. We have a lot of work to do if we're going to get you back over here. All of us together, including the ambulances. That's 2007 data, I believe. No, 2008 data for what's fiscal year 2008 for us. Here's what we need. People go, yeah, everything's fine. We've got a fire station down the street. Everything's fine. Now, is it staffed? Are there people in there? How many people are in there? You know, we have to short staff our engines with 3 members. By law, I have to wait till I get 4 on scene before I enter a burning building, unless I've got a few issues like a rescue to perform. But basically, in order for us to keep the fire to that room or in that area, it takes about this many folks showing up. Within the national standard, they want this within 8 minutes. No one's getting this. But heck, we're at about 30, 35 minutes to get those resources here. And that's why it was so important for us to get traffic preemption to where we can control the lights on 620, because our resources come from all over. Your ladder truck for here comes from Steiner Ranch. Now we're trying to work to get another ladder down here, but that's how long it takes to get here. That's our distribution. This is what the ISO shows. Oh, this is good. A little quiz for you. There was no test, but there is a quiz. 1.5 miles is what the people that rate fire departments say your station should be apart. And if we looked like that, this whole area would be green. There's the Hudson Bend, here's Lakeway, here's Bee Cave. You can see we've got a lot of area that isn't green where we've got some pretty dense populations. We've got to work that better. We need everyone's help to get there. We don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to get this all green to where it's 1.5 miles. That'll give you about a 6-minute response. That's really what we want. We don't know how we're going to get there, but that's what people want. Now, why did they go 1.5 miles? Does anyone know why they picked 1.5 miles distance? And it still rings true today. It's the distance that a horse can carry a company. Okay, in the old days, what did the fire trucks come with? They had a horse on the front, and it was either a hose company, it was either a pumper company, or it was a ladder company. Okay, and the horses used to drag them, and they could only go about 1.5 miles. But ironically, with motorized apparatus, which we're serving with you today, don't worry, there's no horses. We're not responding with, we're not that slow. But it still gives you about a 4-minute travel time, which is what you want. So the standard still rings true, even though it's a different application. There's a lot of fire guys don't know that. So you can go out there and all the firefighters you know, you can ask them that question, see if they can come up with the answer. We think that medical call response times are taking too long for critical calls. We think our firefighting efforts are limited due to that shortage, and we think that we're getting multi-event engagements and we're starting to put the community at high risk. We need help. We need more resources. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we need to do it. Obviously, you can see that we're critically responsible for 620 and 71, which we're receiving a lot of wrecks on and tends to slow us down also. But this is how we respond to your emergencies. Right now, if we did the school thing, we kind of feel that our coverage is about a D level in current things, and those are our current 5 stations. If we could get it up to a level, maybe a different level, we call it a C level, we would add a 6th station that we're trying to get out here on 71 in the area, about halfway out 71 between the city of Bee Cave and let's just say what is that, B Creek. When we'd like to get it up to 7 or 8, which would get you a B level of coverage, as you can see. And to get that 4-minute response, to get a true A, we need about 10 stations. We don't know how we're going to get there. We're not going to do it today unless someone wants to write me a big fat check and then send me one every year. We're expensive. We know that. Fire protection is expensive. But what we're finding out with a lot of our folks is that they wait, when they call 911, they want good service, and they expect city service from us, and we're just not getting there. We're still giving them a very slow county response. We're funded up to be a great volunteer fire department, but we're not really funded up to run career department. We do have some volunteer members, but this area out here is not conducive to having a lot of volunteers. Most people are 2-family working. Everyone's busy with kids. We can't have the volunteer response that we used to see when I started as a volunteer, where we could all leave work and go to the engine. But we do have volunteers that do respond to some of our apparatus, and we still appreciate that. This is something fun to look at, but it isn't, because we were talking Hollywood before, but we got if we don't increase the funding, folks, it's going to happen. I know it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm trying to lighten up kind of a sober thing. We want to do better for you guys, and what I don't want happening is what's been happening when my staff calls me and says, you need to come to the fire, and I go, oh, why? You want my help to put it out? And they go, no, we've already done that, Chief, but the people aren't happy because it took you so long to get here. And I go out and explain to the people what we do. And half the people we serve still think, because they have an Austin address, they go, well, where's Austin? Well, they get an Austin engine or two in the mix because we work with Austin very closely, to where if we're out of engines, they give us engines and vice versa. But at the same token, people don't always think about what their emergency services are until they call 911, and then they're not happy with an 11-minute response. So we need to change that. We don't know how. We're just throwing that out. All right, let me switch gears to another sober. This isn't really a lot of fun, is it, Barker? I'm not knocking one out of the park here. I'm going to talk about why we can't afford a wildfire, okay? Collectively or individually. Total wildland fires have gone up, and you got to understand that I grew up as a wildland firefighter. I started my career as a wildland firefighter, and I fought wildland fires all over the United States. I'm still on an incident management team that responds nationally to manage huge wildfires. I still do that. Still qualified to do that, and I've been doing that since I was about 21 years old. The bottom line is I've seen wildland fires. I've pulled into subdivisions. I've had to say, no, we got to let it burn. I've watched people's homes burn. I've seen all sorts of horrible things. I've burned up millions of acres at a time. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. And what's happened is we've really moved these communities from these urban centers out into this wildland-urban interface like we've got around here. My last job, I was the fire chief of a town called Incline Village, Nevada. And we ended up spending millions of dollars as a community, and we actually put a halo around that village. Now, if you're familiar with that mixed conifer forest, it's a real mess in Lake Tahoe. And we took out zillions of trees. We used different methods, everything from helicopter logging to prescribed fire to pile burning to communities pitching in. We took care of trying to get rid of that problem in Lake Tahoe. 3 years previous, or the year after I left, 3 years ago, they had a fire in the South Lake where they hadn't started any of that work and burned up about 350 homes. That's bad. We don't want to do that. But we can't afford a wildfire, and I'm going to kind of appeal to you guys as the Chamber of Commerce why it's important to stay away from this. You really can't tell the difference. It can't tell the difference. This is a local wildland fire that's burning across an area behind a bunch of homes. That's Lake Travis. Here's this one is Santa Barbara. The fire doesn't understand if it's burning in California, Southern California, or Central Texas. There are certain conditions, and I'm not going to get into fire behavior, but I'd love to spend all afternoon talking about it, about what happens when we're in similar conditions. And there are days where we're going to have this to happen. The beauty about this area, and I'll be very direct with you, is we don't have as many days as Southern California has or as Northern California has, but there are days in our calendar where we have the same fire threat here. Yeah, but we're in Texas. Well, there's a national map on the drought index of last year where we were at, and I want to assure you guys, even with all this water, if you look at it from a hydrologist point of view, if you look at it from a biologist point of view or any ologist point of view, we're still in a drought cycle. We have any ologists in the room? What kind of ologist, sir? Any ologist. I like that. Yeah. Shaken, not stirred, right? All right. I'm